everyone, welcome to Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. This is episode 19, interview with Eric Peterson. I am Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. I said it kind of unknowingly because I think we're going to get stood up because Eric and I have been trying to talk to each other. My guess is he's very busy working on an important patch for the show, for the Hangar module this week. And I know that my show is important to me, but more so, the Hangar patch and things that he's doing there are important to our community. So if he does stand us up, I'm sure it's unintentional. We're going to get more information from him, I'm sure, by the end of the day. So what is going on this week? Well, first off, it's Wednesday night, and I'm making believe it's Monday, so I can be funny about why Eric didn't show up. Did I just give away the secret? I'm so sorry. Let's go on with the show. All right, so in the comm link, we had quite a number of updates. And Thursday night, one of the biggest ones that was announced on that day was the new perks for subscribers. Remember, I push subscribing to people that want to help out the show. It provides us with a lot of perks like ask the, 10 for the chairman, the jump point, and for Wingmans Hangar. So if you're a subscriber, that's where your money's going to. No other place but those items. And a couple of others. We also get some perks like a name on the wall in LA, and well, we can go on with those things. But you want to go out to the comm link and you want to read about the perks for next year. They're going to entail things like free hangar decorations for the Centurions and 2 hangar decorations, one for yourself and one to give a friend monthly for the Imperators. So the Centurions get 1 a month and the Imperators get 2. And it goes on to talk about 10 for the chairman, the jump point, and this non-existent but soon to be released area where we can buy merchandise that only subscribers can get. So a lot of cool things coming there. And this is preliminary, which is why I'm not going deep into it, because it could change between now and year 2, which I think begins in the August-September months. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely 100% sure when subscribers started. I'm sure it was a little bit before then. But because they're talking about August being the month when the first month that you could use that 15% off coupon, I think that's when they started subscriptions. And if I'm wrong, please go easy on me. It's only because I tried to find that info, but I guess with all the other stuff that I had, I didn't dig deep enough. We had a few pieces of lore that were released last week. Session Part 4, we had Op.net Merc News. We had, this is one of my favorite parts, and I'm going to talk about this one in depth. Well, not in depth, but very briefly. The Advocacy Archive. It is kind of a police report or FBI report, more or less, of a derelict ship, or I should say, they thought abandoned, but a ship drifting in space that somebody came upon, and there were corpses on board. And it's talking about the police report, where the people were, what the theories are. And I like this one mainly because this is a great way of introducing those of us that read the lore into what really is going to be in the persistent universe. This could be a look into syndicates. This could be a look into piracy, which sounds like the same thing, but maybe not. Syndicates are much more organized than pirates, for the most part. So I love reading the lore, especially when it comes out of CIG, and it's something that you really got to get into and just give it a quick read. I liked this one a lot, like I said. But then again, I'm a fan of shows like Law and Order and CSI, so this was one of those that gave you kind of a feeling of that in the Star Citizen universe. Of course, the other 2 have been going on for a little bit, Sessions on Part 4, and that's the reporter that actually goes inside of a, I guess, bounty hunter, privateer organization and is trying to distinguish them from pirates. I guess that's it. But this is one I haven't read, mainly because Netflix has really taught me to wait for seasons to be done for TV, so I can watch all the shows in a row without having to wait week by week. And when there are serials released like this in lore, I wait for the last one so I could read them straight through, so I don't have to sit on the edge of my seat waiting for the last one. I wonder if that's a flaw in my personality. Who knows? There was another comlink update about Chris Roberts and CIG Star Citizen in the press, and this one speaks specifically about him being in the vault and some other places that Star Citizen is mentioned. I don't go deep into these things because I think that's a comlink for people that are interested in what the press is saying about it. I'm more interested in what you all are saying about the game. So that was one that was out there. And then we had the inevitable, another letter from the chairman, $39 million hit. And this one is getting closer and closer to them actually announcing what the $42 million stretch goal is going to be. So what did we actually unlock in this one? In essence, what are we getting for the achievement of this $39 million goal? Of course, it's another star system, and they talk about it the way that it's been talked about the last couple. And it's saying, you know, that astronomers using telescopes have found the system. And this one is UDS 2943-0122. That's the day that it was actually announced on the letter from the chairman the last time, or maybe time before that, that we hit one of those stretch goals. Because, you know, like this one that we're going in right now, we're trying to hit the $40 million one, and the $41 million one is what is in the comlink right now. So they're talking about this trinary star system, I think is this one. It was thought to be a single massive star, is actually a trinary star system consisting of two white dwarfs and an active pulsar orbiting one another. Because of the complex gravitational factors at work, it is now believed that a jump point leading to the system likely exists near explored human space. So essentially what they're saying is that here's another star system that's not going to be released in the game at launch, but is there for you to actually go and find the jump point. And I guess that means we get to name the system, we get to hold the jump point coordinates for our own merit, and of course some other people might find it, but if everybody keeps it a secret, only the people that actually find the jump point are going to be able to know where this place is. I like the way that they're doing these now. It's pretty cool, but you know, the stretch goals got to go a little bit more than to adding a systems that you're going to add anyway, and that's what the next one is talking about. So for $41 million, we've been talking about, you know, we want to fly in atmosphere. We want to take those 325s, those Hornets, the Avengers, into the atmosphere and explore other planets. Of course, planets that are set up in static worlds like Terra and Earth and many of the other major worlds in UEE space are not going to be able to be procedurally based. So you're really going to fly into the atmosphere, click a button, and then see a cinematic for landing. But for the newer systems that we're finding now that don't have all this, all these cities and everything going on down below, they're talking about procedurally generated worlds that might be different for each server. Yes, I said each server because I don't know if this is a single server game or a multi-server game. Obviously, we might have some for the Pacific, for North America and Europe, but I'm talking about in those actual regions themselves. You may or may not see many servers running the game, so that would mean each server might have a different procedurally generated world. What that means for us is that somewhere down the line, when they get this down, they're going to be able to let us go and fly into the atmosphere, fly around the planet, see what's down there, sit down, and, you know, look for resources and set it up in our own, you know, for our own likes, dislikes, whatever. So procedural generation R&D team, the new stretch goal will allocate funding for Cloud Imperium to develop procedurally generated generation technology. I'm not going to go deep into this. Essentially what this is going to do is put aside some money for them to actually get this going. A clear example is what I'm about ready to speak of at the end of the news when I talk about Wingmans Hangar. Way back, I think it was a $12 million goal, I think. I'm not sure. Let me drink on that. Yeah, it might have been $12 million. They announced that they were going to offer Oculus Rift technology, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So the last thing that Chris left us with is the $42 million stretch goal is next. When we hit 40 million, he's going to announce the $42 million stretch goal. And that is very important because of Squadron 42. It definitely correlates to that, so this one's going to be a biggie. And essentially, I think his words were exactly this. Next goal to announce will be the $42 million stretch goal. This one is special as it is the number, well, this is what I said, as it is number 42, okay. And promises to be fitting for this auspicious occasion. I'm excited. I think it might be a bagel carrier for everyone, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Next Generation Starship had episode 1.4. It was totally different than I thought it was going to be. I thought when we were watching it, it was going to be, here's the winner at the beginning of the show, and then the rest of the show was going to be them setting up the actual rest of the contest rules and going through them with the people, and we would start to see whatever work they were generating. It didn't happen that way. And I, for one, like the way it happened. What they did was they pretty much set the standard by having, and I got to get this gentleman's name right because, oh God, I love this ship. David Hobbins is one of the concept artists on the show, and he brought us the Gladiator, which is still not in my hangar, and I bought it months ago. Anyway, he brought us the Gladiator, and he is the artist working on the Mustang. You all remember the Mustang. Wait, that's not the Mustang. That's Chuck Yeager's Mustang. That's the Mustang. And yes, that one is decked out for me. Thank you, Radar from the Enablers. You know, the official organization of the Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous fans. Okay, I won't say that more than once this show, I promise. But he is creating that. And I'm going to let the movie run behind me. So what they did is they brought us a look into how CIG creates a new ship. And I like this because each week, and this is my understanding of this, they're going to go through how David is creating the Mustang, and maybe we'll get to see those things instead of read them in the jump points, or for those of you that aren't subscribers like me, read them later on inside the comlink about how the actual ships are created. So right now I've read the Freelancer, the Connie, the Hornet, the Avenger, the 300 series, and you get to see all of Chris's and other people's input into the ship. I'm very, very, very excited to see how this ship moves along, and I just love the Mustang. Yes, it's probably because I'm obsessed with the actual real-world, iconic American World War II fighter, and I'm definitely going to get myself a couple of these. One of each variant, if they have variants, of course. So that was the first segment. They talked to us a little bit about that. In the next segment of the Next Generation Starship, she did the perfect thing. She touched base with each one of the teams, saw where they were at, and pretty much set them up and said, hey, next week the game is on, and you guys got to bring it. So I like that. And the last segment, she waited to tell us that Infinite Shoe Monkey was the wild card winning. Congratulations, Infinite Shoe Monkey. You know, if I didn't have the braces, I would probably still fumble over that one. Well, let me say it again. Congratulations, Infinite Shoe Monkey, and good luck in the rest of the competition. All right, so I talked about the Mustang. I just have to say it one more time. I know you guys are pretty done with me talking about it probably, but like I said, I love it. So there is a poll right now about the Mustang, and I'm very disappointed in the numbers. Only 44% of you are actually say to release it now. But I want to implore all of you that haven't voted, please vote for it to be released, because even though it's not out, like the Retaliator, like the Starfarer, like the 350 M50, like the Gladiator, like the Scythe, like, you know, these are all ships that we've purchased. There's no reason that we shouldn't be able to purchase this. The poll is missing something very, 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 very important when you do a poll, and that's a control question. It's not asking, with seeing the work in progress, are you interested in buying the Mustang? And question 2 should be, if you're buying the Mustang, do you want it out now or do you want to wait? I think the way the poll is actually situated now, if someone doesn't like the Mustang, they're going to vote no. So that no needs to be removed from the actual data so you can get real data of the people that are interested in the Mustang, so we can find out who actually really wants to make it built. So Sandy, I know you watch these every now and then. Can you please just consider what I'm saying and release it anyway, pretty please? But if you don't release it, I think the right thing to do is just keep pushing hard on showing us the information and the work in progress each week, and then release it at the end of the contest that last Friday night when the winner is announced. Let us be able to buy the Mustang then. So it's one of those two choices. Either way, I'm not going to get it until it's done anyway. But whichever way you choose, please make sure I'm the first one to get one. All right, so we're going to move on to 10 from the chairman. That's Monday nights at 6 p.m. I do not go through every question. If that's what you want to see, Wes is amazing at doing that on The Whole Truth. I talk about the things that matter the most, not to you, but to me, or I should say, the things that I'm able to explain the most, or things I could pick out of there. The first question asked was very important. And by the way, Chris, thank you so much for doing this. I've never seen a chairman of any game development company do something like this. And if there are them out there, then you're among some of the elite people in the industry. And I already think that you're the number one. So the question went like this, and I am so sorry for not writing down your name, and please forgive me. And if someone could put this person's name in the comments, I'd appreciate it. The Drake Herald's position as an information runner and data encryption ship makes it very interesting. However, is this a niche PvE mission ship, or is it something more? How will the information and data aspects affect PvP in the persistent universe? All right, that's a good question. I really like it because obviously this is a PvP game, right? You can slide that slider down and say, I don't want a PvP, but the persistent universe is going to be where you get to kick your best friend's butt, right? Or maybe not such a best friend. So Chris went on to explain communications in the Star Citizen universe. In Star Trek, there's subspace communications, so you could send information over vast distances and circumnavigate the laws of physics where an electron actually travels faster than light. That doesn't sound right to me. I know that there's a science in Star Trek to support that. I just don't know what that science is. Subspace communications, whatever it is. In the Star Citizen universe, you can picture it this way. If I want to get something from, say I want to get a package from Atlanta, where I live, to California. Well, I am not fast enough myself. I can't walk there, so I walk down to my mailbox. That package now gets inside of a mail carrier or a UPS truck, let's just say, and gets taken to the airport where it gets on a plane, flies within one day out to California, and then gets on another truck and then gets delivered, right? So you had a couple of changes of hands on that unit. In the olden days, I would have had to get on a horse and ride across the country, and it would take me weeks or months to get the information from Atlanta to California. All right, so we got that down. And for those of you that are in other countries, just think of it as like Dresden to Cologne, or Nottingham to Surrey, or Moscow to St. Petersburg, whichever country you're in, or Montreal to, let's just say, Vancouver. All right? And of course, I could say Perth to Sydney. I guess to be politically correct and thank everybody, I could be here all day, or not thank everybody, but talk about all the cities. So in the Star Citizen universe, information could only travel at the speed of light. And with some of these worlds being hundreds of light years, thousands of light years, or tens of thousands of light years away, that would mean information doesn't really get from A to B very quickly. Jump points span vast amounts of space, thousands of light years at a time sometimes, hundreds at others. So I want to get my information from where I am in my hangar at Star Citizen AA Central. I'm trying to send it to Colonial Movers, okay? So I take that information and I transmit it to a relay station. The relay station takes that message and all the other messages, puts it on a Drake Herald that then goes and runs through a couple of jump points, covering thousands of light years of space, or hundreds, and then gets on the other side of the last jump point and beams that information to all the people in that system that need to get the information from that ship. In the Navy and the Marines, we call that mail call. So that's how it works. So the Drake Herald is going to be a way that you can get information from A to B a lot faster than beaming it for thousands of years from Earth to the far reaches of the UE space. So this is really cool. The second part of the answer was, how does it affect it? Well, there's going to be missions, and, you know, pirates are going to try to intercept missions, and maybe there's information on that ship that is actually worth money, and they can collect a bounty on that information by attacking the ship, taking it over, and stealing the information. So there's a lot of aspects in this on how it could be PvP. It's not just a PvE ship. Every mission that goes on in the Star Citizen Persistent universe can be PvE or PvP, because all it takes is for someone that's a pirate to jump you in the middle of any mission, and suddenly what was a mission picked up at a merchant's guild or a mercenary guild is a PvP mission, because you're fighting for your life against the 3 people that just jumped you outside of the next jump point. Great answer, Chris. Thank you very much. That really did clear up my mind as to what the Drake Interplanetary Herald was all about. All right, so the next question came from another person that I failed to write down. I apologize, and none of these are going to have names. So if somebody could just tell me who was responsible for each one in a comment, that would be great. You mentioned in the last hint for the chairman that the Idris was undergoing some interior changes in order to fit the amount of ships you wanted inside the hangar. How many ships do you plan on allowing inside of the Idris, and which ones? Thank you much in advance. So the Idris is going to be a very important ship inside of Squadron 42, which I can't wait to play. And it had to be redesigned to have a lot of other things in it, like an infirmary, sick bay, a science stations, and an armory, and all sorts of other things. So the hangar, which in the work in progress was long enough to fit 3, is now long enough to fit 2, with one of the actual Hornets, Gladiators, Avengers, Auroras, whatever you're carrying inside of it, actually being stowed in reserve. So 2 ships are actually going to be flown out of the Idris in support, and one's going to be a backup should one get damaged or possibly dropped down and launched if you so wish. So the Idris is going to be able to carry 3 ships. 2 of them are going to be in the hangar deck and available to actually go out and run missions. With one of them, you're going to have to do a little bit of let's just say you're going to have to do some work to get it onto the hangar bay and launch it after the other 2 have launched. And before it can land, you're going to have to land one of them, put it away, and then land the other 2. That's the way I see it. That's a good answer to that question, and we've all seen the work in progress on the Idris, and now that beautiful Javelin destroyer, which I can't wait until we actually see in person. I can't wait to see ships that big. Be flying around a Javelin, and just never mind. All right, so the last question that I'm going to talk about is one of the last ones he did. And it's, will the death of a spaceman always be the final destination for our pilots, or will they be able to retire? And this question went on and on. It wasn't bad. It was funny. I just don't want to read it all right now because it would take me forever. Death of a spaceman is one of the ways that our characters die. So it's not for our account, it's for our person. And we could just create another one or start playing a alt or another character slot that we have. There's so much to remember about this game. So one of the big things about death in this game is that that first character that you get is going to be gone. But say you have one character that maybe his mission was running cargo between safe planets, and he was always in UE space, and he's getting older and he's done. What happens to him then? And this person wanted to know, am I going to see him in a bar? Is he going to be fixing ships in a hangar? Is he going to be, that guy that's always talking about the good old days? And Chris didn't really have an answer for this because it is a work in progress. It's a thought. And one of the things he said is it might be something there you're getting like information from this guy, giving you tips, saying, hey dude, that's really cool. I hope everything is going well for you. And that would be coming across your Moby glass. So that was a good answer. And I really appreciated Chris taking that question because it's obviously not something that's important right now, but it's definitely important to the game. All right. We went right from 10 for the chairman. I've already passed through some of the lore and some of the other items like the Mustang Poll. And we're going to go right to this morning. Yes, it's Wednesday. And we're going to talk about Wingmans Hangar. And I can tell you this. The initial shock of most of the videos from people like myself, which I made horrible videos, and I'm not unhappy not doing them right now, but I'm probably going to submit some really good videos in the future. But I liked where the show is going. There is some entertainment in the way that they answer the questions, and they still have the smirks, and they still get a little bit, let's just say I laugh at times. I didn't laugh when in this episode he said Nikki and Ska.
It wouldn't be a hangar without some fan gifts from Nikki and Ska.
Eric, you're going to be on my show. It's SCAA, not Ska. Yes, the people from SCAA purchased 2 bottles of whiskey and sent them over to Eric so he could consume it while he was doing an interview with me. But they drank it all on Friday. Well, that's okay. I hope you all in Austin, I hope you all in Austin liked it, enjoyed it, and didn't get too drunk off of it. And it was put together by Mage, who is one of our members. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to sitting down with you. So there are still things where Eric bumbles over a name, like the name of our group, and that makes me laugh. But this week, it was more stuff, less fluff, but not a lot less. They're actually adding things back into it little by little. So the big news on the show this week was the Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift was the $12 million stretch goal, I believe. I got to drink on that one again to see if it was. Yeah, Yingling always gives me the answer. I think it was a $12 million stretch goal. So he had Jason, Tom, and Kevin on, and they talked about the Oculus Rift support. This is pre-alpha. They put it into patch 11.1. So those of you lucky enough to have the Oculus Rift developers kits, I think that's what's out right now, are able to see how that works in game. Please tell me how it's working if anybody that has one is watching the show. And maybe I can get you to give me a couple words about what you think about it and how well you think it's implemented so far. So that was the beginning of it. Dropped in the beginning of the show, Eric told us that the servers are online, the world servers for the actual matchmaking in the DFM. And what that means is Austin, Manchester, LA, and the other offices could all fight each other on the world servers. So they're having their own in-office competitions, which I'm hoping they're going to let me partake in when I'm out there on the 14th of March. I don't know. I'm at their mercy. I'll beg them, I'm sure. But that is something that is going on. So that means that the meat and potatoes of the dogfighting module is in the tweaking and making it right and making it work for the rest of us stage. And that's good to know because April's coming up fast and I can't wait until PAX so we can see it in action and possibly get it within a week or two after the actual conference. So we went right from that into, and I believe, the Scythe. He announced the Scythe was almost done. I don't know if that means the Scythe is coming into our hangars. What it does mean is the Scythe is probably going to be available for the dogfighting module. And if you've looked at the year 2 subscriber benefits, the Imperators like myself, we get to fly the Scythe in the DFM. I think it's one 24-hour period for every month that you have actually been a subscriber. So at this point, I would get 6 24-hour periods with which to fly the scythe. So 6 days out of the month, I believe, is what that is. I'm not sure if that's 24 hours of playtime or 24 hours of actual clock time. So we're going to have to wait and see how that happens. Like I said, those are not done yet. But the scythe is almost done. And after seeing the work in progress movie on that, I am sorry I didn't get one. But I'm okay with not having one. I think that there is a point where you can have too many ships. Who am I kidding? There's no such place. All right. So we went right from that, we went into forum feedback, and I'm only going to pull 2 things out of forum feedback. The first one is the spider miners we saw last week were amazing, but got me thinking, how would you manage to transport such a content? You know, I can't wait for these braces to come off. How would you manage to transport such a contraption without a ship as big or larger than an Idris? They all looked dumbfounded at each other like, humma. This is late game. Maybe you do need a bigger ship. Oh, they'll just be there for you to use. They don't know. And it's not that they don't know. It's that that's far off. So they will know by the time it's there. But, you know, you did see Eric mention the Javelin. And there will be bigger ships. I think there's a battle cruiser that we'll be able to get. That's in between that and the bigger carriers. And I think at some point they even said there was an escort carrier that we might be able to get. I'm not sure. But even if they just put this on a world where we can go and use it, I can't wait to use those miners. Pretty cool looking, aren't they? And have wars with them. That would be awesome. All right. The next and last question that I picked out, because I had 3 and I only thought a couple were worthy of my talking about them. Not that the other ones weren't worthy questions, but they were answered very well and don't need my input. Back in the day, the Star Citizen Persistent Universe was billed as solo player or small groups of players with their citizen dossiers highlighting their exploits as they journeyed through the verse and potentially becoming famous or infamous. Has the rise in popularity of organizations changed that mindset? In other words, it was not supposed to be like, you know, big giant raids and stuff like that in the beginning, right? And that's not the way I read it. The way I read it and the way I heard it from Chris from the start, and mind you, I came in August 28th to be exact. So I'm almost August, September, October, November, December, January, February. I'm almost at 7 months, right? I understood it to be, there's something in Star Citizen for everybody. Whether you're one person, a small group, a larger group, or an immense amount of people like Imperium. Oh my God, Imperium, you are huge. Sorry. There's a lot to do in this universe, whether it be for the individual or be for ultra-large corporations. And that's the way they're making the game. So whether you're with 50 people, 1,500 people, or just you and your best friend, there's going to be something for you to do and a way to make, you know, leave your mark on the universe. And that I believe, because I played Freelancer and I have played Privateer and I've played all the Wing Commanders, and I trust Chris, Eric, Rob, Ben, Sam. I trust everybody that's on this team. They're going to deliver a wonderful game to us, and I don't think we need to worry about them losing focus. If anything, they've expanded their focus to actually make more of us happy while keeping the initial mindset of the game the same. That's done. Patch 11.1 came out soon after Wingmans Hangar, and that is with the Oculus Rift support. I have not been able to break it down to see if there's any hidden changes. Some of the hidden changes I would look for are just subtle things, like maybe a motion capture of, you know, a certain thing happening in a ship changing, maybe the lights being returned to the actual buggy, maybe the horn not having a couple of different horn sounds, just little tiny things. If I don't get Eric, I might do a very quick run through the Hangar patch, if not to show you a couple of things I missed, but also to hopefully show you a couple of things that weren't in the designer notes, in the patch notes. I don't really have anything else for you. It's amazing, isn't it? So let's talk about a couple of things. All right, so I have no other news. And my iPad is on the bed. This is week 5 of the Star Citizen AA competition, the Confession of a Star Citizen Addict. I've been starting to get many more entries, which is good because next Friday, a week from tomorrow, we're going to give away the Avenger Pack. Pending Eris gets the poll up this Friday. So Friday to Thursday, so 7 days, we're going to have the poll up there. Thursday night, I'm going to pull the poll and I'm going to shut it down. And then Friday afternoon, Friday evening, after the Next Generation Starship airs, I'm going to announce the winner in that thread. And you will get the Avenger package, not the ship, but the package that gives you a character slot, some credits, and a 2, 3, or 6 month insurance. I'm not sure which one it is. Next month, we're continuing the competition. And with the mindset that it's going to be very important for you to have a fighting ship when the dogfighting module comes out. Well, it's really not, because they're going to provide us with ships at first. But we're going to give away a 325A package. It is in the same price point, give or take $1, $5, whatever it is, as the Avenger. And it is one of the first 3 ships that's going to be in the dogfighting module. You're going to have, you're going to have, that was saying I had 10,000 steps on my Fitbit, but I'm standing here, but I'm talking with my hands. Not a good thing for an Italian to wear, is it? So the mindset is the 325A is a great fighter ship. It's going to be one of those that you will be able to take into the simulator when the dogfighting module becomes the simulator, a place where you can fight your friends and other people and be ranked. That was one of the questions, I think, in the 10 for the Chairman. And I really want that to be the next ship. After that, I'm taking whatever Sandy gives us. If it's an Aurora, that's fine. If it's a Connie, that's fine. Whatever she's willing to give us. So I want to continue the Confession of a Star Citizen Addict for as long as we can, and have that contest each month. Second part of this. I'm going to LA on the 10th through the 13th of this next month, which is March, and I'm going to be in Huntington Beach with Apple for a sales conference. That's great. So I'm going to be there. Midday on Thursday I get done. Friday I'm going to be going to Santa Monica and visiting Cloud Imperium Games as their guest. That's one of the perks that you get as a subscriber. You get to go to the offices. You just have to give them warning or be invited, right? And I'm sure that they would invite people that aren't subscribers, but that's just one of the perks that we get. Well, it's going to cost me a little bit of money, and I'm all willing to pay for it myself. But I was thinking, and I just want to comment in here, and I don't know if it's worth it or not. I have a extra large Star Citizen t-shirt, and if you make a $1 to $5 donation on the Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous, in other words, http://starcitizenaa.com, I'll take all those names, put them into a random, one of those websites that generates a random winner, and I'll give away that shirt, which I can't wear because didn't realize that a guy's extra large makes, it's like a big giant shirt on me. I'll give it away to you, and I'll pay for shipping to you. All you got to do is be one of the people that donate. That's it. And of course, I'll need at least 10 people to donate, which could be anywhere from $1 to $5. I don't want any more donations that are larger than $5 unless you are just really, really, really generous, but I'm not asking for that. If you feel that that's right, tell me, and then I'll put it out in the StarCitizenAA.com in a thread and ask for them. You don't need to send anything until I start that, okay? That's it. So we are going to go on to the interview with Eric now. is that man? He was supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. What? Car accident? Who is this? Eric? No, I haven't been in a car. What are you talking? Oh, you're making a joke. Where are you? No, it's not a phone interview. No, Eric, do you watch my shows? Really? You've never watched? Well, go to my channel right now and watch it. Okay. And, okay, you see it? That's what I want to do. Come on, Mike Moreland, he helped set up the interview with Ben. He should know what to do. No, it's not SCA, it's SCAA. Did you get our gift? All right, good. You're supposed to have a drink on the show with me. What? Eric? You guys drank it all? Eric? Oh, you didn't have any, okay. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed it. All right, well, when can you do the show? No, Eric, I can't do it right now. Because it's going to take more than 10 minutes, sweetie. All right. So, everyone, it looks like Eric has stood me up unintentionally. He never watched the show and didn't realize it was a video interview, which is amazing because he's talked about the show quite a few times. The conversation I had with him was amazing. Most of what you just heard was a reenactment. I just wanted to be funny. And it was almost a verbatim reenactment. He called me and I pick up the phone. I look at it. It's coming from someplace in California, not in Austin. At least I think it was California. I'd have to look at my phone to tell you. But I pick up the phone and then somebody's asking me if I'd recently been in a car accident. I'm like, huh? And he goes, it's Eric. I'm like, Eric? Eric who? And I don't remember giving Eric my number, but in all the emails I sent to him, my number was in there. So he called me out of the blue and thought that it was going to be a telephone interview. I kind of knew something was wrong midday Monday because I like to send the people I'm going to interview, not the questions, but a list of questions I could pull from so they get an idea of my interviews and what they have to be prepared for. Because I don't like the ums and ahs and the long thoughts if I throw a question at them that they're not ready for, which is why I ask all of you to submit questions for each people on my Twitter. Anyway, Eric had never watched the show. He was very apologetic. He's setting up a time with me when Mike is in the office, so it's most likely going to be a week from tomorrow. And I'm going to take the time off so I can, or finagle my days next week, so I can actually spend some time with him. And I can't wait for that. My next couple of weeks, like I said before, I'm going to probably not have a show the week of the 10th through the 18th, unless Eric's show is that show. And I just put it up without the news, which I'm sure you guys can get by without because we have some other great podcasters and videocasters out there that do news shows also. But I can't wait to sit down with Eric. I had a long conversation with him, a lot of it that I can't talk about right here, right now. One of the things we did talk about was the Freelancer variants that found their way into the last build and have now been removed from this build of the Hangar patch. It was totally an accident. I can't believe how we all jumped to conclusions that they were coming out. And of course, that was the only conclusion that we could jump to. But he assured me that those aren't done. They're not final models. They haven't even been signed off on. So that's all I can tell you from what we talked about so far, but I can't wait to talk to him. He filled out answers to every question I sent to him. I immediately closed the file and deleted it from my computer so I didn't see it, mainly because when I ask these questions, I want to know the answer. on the show as the first time I'm hearing the answer. In other words, I don't want to know the answer beforehand. I want the answer to be the first time I'm hearing it because, like yourselves, I'm interested with what these folks have to say. So I'm sorry that Eric didn't make the show today. And I can assure you that he is very apologetic and he seemed enthusiastic in the end about coming on. I can't wait to see him. And I've also been invited by him to go out to Austin anytime I want, which, as long as I know somebody around those parts, maybe I can go out there. Who knows? Thank you all for watching the show tonight. Stay tuned for another Confession of a Star Citizen Addict. I'm very sorry I don't have a lot more for the show, but I was really taken off guard by this one, and I didn't prepare anything else, thinking Eric was going to come through. And again, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was just the circumstances that arose with Hangar Patch 11.1 and having long meetings and not really ever watching the show, which should disappoint me and hurt me, but now that he's watched it and told me he likes it, it doesn't, so I'm pretty happy about that. So I'll see you all next week. Thank you, and you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye. When I was a very young boy, I grew up in a house with many siblings, but somehow found myself always alone. My father was abusive, and except for my little brother, my other siblings were too old to be bothered with us. After all, we were the babies. I oftentimes found myself retreating into the sanctity of my make-believe world where I could do or be anything I wanted. Sometimes my little brother would come along as my trusty sidekick. We slayed dragons and rescued princesses. We commanded a submarine and saved the world. We were archaeologists digging up rare fossils of long-forgotten species. We were fighter pilots, the scourge of the skies, and we were space explorers. As a child, I would go out at night and lie in the backyard, staring up at the stars, and wondering what it would be like to be out there. What was out there? It was my escape from reality of where I was and what I was going through. I knew it had to be better than where I was at the time. We had just begun going into space. Mercury and Gemini were in full swing. Apollo had not even been launched yet, and even though I was a young boy, I watched everything I could on TV with regards to space. I watched the news about the flights of the X-15 and every single rocket launch that was televised. It was a huge event for me, and I would always imagine I was going along. The people on TV at the time promised that by the year 2000, spaceflight would be as common as driving your own car. Flash Gordon was before my time, but I wanted to ride that Fireball XL5 or pilot one of the Thunderbirds, and even though I always saw the strings holding the ships, it didn't matter, and I dreamed on. And as I dreamed on, the years slipped by, and I got older. We had landed on the moon, but still I could not go. We have launched space shuttles, and I could not go. We had launched space stations, and once again, I could not go. I got married, raised a family, and moved on. Still, I did not get to go. About the same time, something else began to happen. There was a new invention, the computer. At first, it wasn't much, just a bunch of electronic circuits and blinking lights, but it intrigued me. I saw possibility, and as the years went on and the graphics got better and the programs more sophisticated, something else happened. Programmers began to create externally what I could only visualize in my mind as that small boy with nothing but my imagination lying in the backyard all those years ago. The year 2000 came and went with much fanfare and some trepidation. Some people thought the world would come to an end, others thought it ushered in a new beginning. It turned out to be just the same. We did not get our daily space flights, we did not get our flying cars, and I had begun to lose hope. But these computers, these marvelous pieces of technology that no one saw coming, were finally allowing me to realize my dreams of becoming the hero, of flying that fighter plane, of slaying the dragon and commanding the submarine, and yes, finally, to explore the vastness of the universe. Star Citizen will be the closest thing in my lifetime to what I imagined as a small boy laying in the backyard all those years ago. And even though It's a virtual world, not real in any sense. I will make it so, as much as will be possible with whatever limited funding and technology I can bring to bear. I'll play the game on vast multiple monitor screens with helmet-mounted displays and surround sound glory. I will turn off the lights so that nothing from our world will be able to interfere and remind me it's only a game. I will immerse and lose myself in the vastness of the universe once again, to become the explorer. And if only for a short time, I will relive my childhood dreams. I will allow my senses to experience what only my mind could create. I will see the colorful nebula, the asteroids and blazing suns. Countless possibilities. I will hear the songs of the stars as I pilot my spaceship into the vastness of the universe. And be a boy once again.